Sean here, and I just want to say this before I begin. I've stopped all communication with my contacts in Maine. It's not because of them or because of me. It's because I said the first sign of negativity, the first sign I was getting any shit from anyone, I was done. Because it's something I chose to do. It's not something I have to deal with. Sharing the information, trying to provide a little entertainment to the Lorneography community. I would like to correct somebody who mistakenly thought that I said Paula changed her name. I said she went by her first or her middle name, whichever one wasn't Paula. It is really nice in the latest videos to see what I said about Paula was true. And I had other things I wanted to share, but again, I have no time for drama, I have no time for bullshit, and no time for negativity. So if that's why you were coming to this channel, I apologize. I hope you stick around. If it's not, I look forward to putting out more videos. There are a number of reasons that Lorne can't let Paula go. One of the big ones is that no one likes a mystery. No one wants to read a book and then with 3 chapters left, the book just ends. We're still looking for what happened to Jimmy Hoffa, where his body is, who really killed JFK, the pyramids, ancient aliens, the Loch Ness Monster. No one likes unsolved mysteries. And Paula is an unsolved mystery. Relationships need to end, properly end. Not death, but properly end. They need to have closure. Closure doesn't even have to mean something mutual. It can just mean a definitive stopping point. Lorne never had that definitive stopping point with Paula. She just vanished. And if somebody can ever get in touch with her, the real her, and they ask her, how did it end? First she's going to say, I didn't know it began. But they're going to say, how did it end? Well, we moved away. Lorne was never privy to any of that information. He was told to stay the fuck away from her. He never knew what happened to her. In his head, they were together. At least, that's what he said. She was showing him signs that they were going to be together. First off, they never had the proper structure of a relationship. So the foundation was not there. Lorne popped up his little trailer of love in his head. And what I'm saying there is that most of us, we have this complex interaction with people. We have our social skills interweave with each other, and we get this unique pattern. Well, Lorne, it's a singular, broken down trailer full of no social skills and what he thinks is the truth. When you're building a relationship with no foundation, when you're building a relationship that's only one-sided, everything is going to crumble. And of course it all crumbled for Lorne, and I'm certain that Tony at one point, just like he did with Julie at Circle K or wherever, said, hey, she probably likes you, man. And that's all Lorne needed to hear. And I'm only speculating, but now that I'm thinking about it, Tony might have said, yeah, you should ask her out. And of course Lorne, he doesn't understand what that means. He assumed that the only reason Tony would mention that is because obviously Paula wanted him. When he was ramping all of this up in his head, when he was talking to her, can I get another drink or whatever, because I don't even know if she worked at the bar. I told you the story about Sherry, and now that you hear the story about Paula working in the bar, I think it's pretty clear that this dude has a pattern of terrorizing women who serve drinks. But we're talking about Paula. This whole narrative in his head, we know it was faked. We know it was false. And the point I'm getting to, I always say the point I'm getting to, but I never get to the point. The point I'm getting to is that Paula never contributed to this. She never contributed anything to it. So Lorne he has no creativity. His intelligence is passable, I guess. I mean, the latest Casey call, we heard about his bank accounts, and the reason he's in the negative is because he's trying to build his credit. At least that's what it sounded like. The comments section, they are fire. If you want to go to comment sections, go to Heelborn's channel, and then go over to Blue Boy's channel, or Raptor Bacon. Oh my God. Dude, I find myself sometimes listening to the video, and I'm not even paying attention to what's being said, because I'm reading the comments and laughing hysterically. So someone with no creativity, with no real intelligence, no logical thinking, can't recognize patterns. This guy is putting all of this together in his head. There's nothing there. But to Lorne, he can take nothing and turn it into something. He can take the nothing relationship and make it this big dramatic thing that he's going to carry for the rest of his life. Real quick, I just want to say, please be careful. I just drove by a fatality accident. I don't know what it is about my timing, but I don't want anybody to get injured. Nothing is that important. Please be careful when you're on the road. Lorne is that guy who has imaginary one-sided feuds with probably everybody. I joke around with Winnie's boyfriend/husband. I started that imaginary one-sided feud just to be kind of funny. You guys already know I really like him and Cornville Three-Way, Cybersqueak, and I'm going to forget like 50 people. But I love all of them. So I started this fake imaginary one-sided feud. Well, I was thinking the other day, to Lorne, this shit would be real. I mean, Xavier, he's probably got it in his head that he and Xavier, during the rapture, they are going to be fighting with lightsabers, Xavier in a pink Batman suit, Lorne in a Wonder Woman costume. There's a visual for you. He probably thinks they're going to be the most important battle in the history of the internet, in the history of the world. It doesn't take much for somebody who has this persecution syndrome. They want to be a martyr, they're a victim. It doesn't take much for them to convince themselves that they have a feud going on with someone who probably doesn't even know who the fuck they are. As you guys can tell, the further it gets from the workday, the more the curse words start flying. It would be one of those things where it's like, the report would read, Lorne walked up to Xavier and told him he was going to kick his ass, but Xavier wouldn't back down from the stance of not knowing who the fuck he is. Lorne has the ability to create this bullshit in his head. Not only these feuds, not only these imaginary battles, but also these imaginary relationships. When you're that lonely, when you've never had a girl, and you get somebody who will talk to you and say hello, I guess that's why he does it. Now apply that to the ending of a relationship when there's no information. We've seen what Lorne does when there's no information. All of these imaginary scenarios, he runs through his head all day. He then calls them and starts, going out for cocktails, like he told Casey, going out for cocktails on a romantic date. She never said it was a date. They didn't go out for cocktails, you senior citizen. They went out like friends do, and they had a drink, and they bullshitted, and they enjoyed each other's company, and they enjoyed just being away from the house and being away from work. But we're talking about Lorne Armstrong. He doesn't understand life in general. He definitely wouldn't understand somebody breaking shit off with him. Somebody just up and vanishing, because I think Lorne in his head, he really believes that they were destined to be together. Even with Nikki, when she took out that harassment, whatever it was on him. If somebody can find someone in Maine who knows Nikki, dear God, I would love to hear their story. Even in that situation with Nikki, without having all of the information, Lorne would have to be in on the conversation when she was filing that harassment suit or harassment claim. He would have to be in there and hear every single word she was saying. And of course we know he'd spin it, so he wasn't the one responsible. But he would have to know every little tidbit, because if he didn't, he's going to fill it in with 87 logic and 87 bullshit. Lorne is the poster child for the movie The Accused. Well, she was asking for it. That's essentially what he was saying about Paula. She was giving him signs. I can hear it in your voice, Debbie, that you like me. He's a creep. So Paula vanishes, and Lorne starts putting all of this together in his head, trying to figure it out. First off, he's basing everything on his thought that there was something there. So that's strike one. So now that lie, that falsehood is in place, he can now start building his theory with a starting point that doesn't even exist. Then 87 can say, well, we were headed to a relationship, Well, I guess I waited too long, and I believe this is what he said. I guess I waited too long. I mean, she really liked me, and I was trying to be nice, and unfortunately, she got back with her boyfriend slash fiance. The time frame for him is so off. He claims 6 months, but I can't imagine him waiting 6 months in a bar talking to Paula before he's gonna go to her house. Like I said, before he's gonna go over there, and someone's gonna have to intervene and say, "Dude, you need to take a step back. There's nothing here." Those creeps that follow them home from strip clubs, that's Lorne Armstrong. I don't want to talk to him, be around him, smell him. I don't want to hear any of his shit. I don't want to be around him, but I would love somebody to take him to a strip club and record him, especially coming out. Did you see that, man? She was all over me, man. I still got it. You never had it. Well, we're talking about a guy who will take their no relationship, fill in those blanks, and start saying what I said about he waited too long, and she really cared about him, and they were going to have sex that night. The only reason they didn't have sex is because that guy she's only using for sex was over there, because everything else she can get from Lorne. So, after putting all that together, after piecing it all together, she's gone. And that leaves Lorne, who I guarantee you went back to that bar, went to places he might have heard she went, to the grocery store. I'm telling you, so many case studies that he went to where she went to the grocery store, where she said she might have gotten her hair done. Because what Lorne says was told to him, and this is important to keep in mind, what Lorne believes is told to him is information he deserves, he has the right to know. If Paula was talking to one of her friends and said something about, "Yeah, I got my hair done over at so-and-so's, and I really like it, what do you think?" Lorne would hear that information, because obviously she didn't care if he heard it, because she said it within earshot of him. He would think, yeah, I was included in that conversation. She wanted me to know that. I really do believe that. I think, knowing what I know now about Lorne, I believe he thinks that collateral information, peripheral, as I say, because everything in Lorne's life is on the peripheral, but peripheral information that he wasn't supposed to hear, but he did hear, he probably believes it was intended for him, and he has the right to tell anyone he wants to, the right to use it in any way he wants to. He can add that stuff to his imaginary relationship building, his world building. Think about it. Think about the way Lorne would treat that information. Well, I know a lot about her. I know more about her than most of her friends, probably. Well, if you're hanging out where she worked, Lorne, or you're showing up where she's at, you're going to learn a lot about her from listening to what she says to other people. None of this was real. Communication was not direct. He didn't communicate directly with her. This is a guy who thought it was quality time. Just like when he left Debbie those voicemails where he's belting out songs terribly. He thought they could listen to those songs together on the phone. There's something wrong with him. Something that doesn't click inside of his head. It is almost like a piece of his brain is missing, which would lend a theory that Dan Jones and I were talking about, that he possibly had a stroke at one point, where where he can't speak. The side of his face that kind of droops down, I'm not sure. Maybe he has many strokes. Maybe that's why he can't sleep. His memory is terrible. He might have had a concussion, I don't know, but it's like there's a piece of his brain missing. He cannot link actual things that happen in life together, which is why I think this disappearance of Paula has probably haunted him since the moment she disappeared. I think we all know that we'll never know exactly what happened with Paula. But we do know that his relationship was a fabrication by that built-in defense mechanism he has. One that creates fake relationships, tries to convince himself that he's had a life, because he's never had a life. And that defense shield he puts up, where he pretends things have happened, where he pretends he has had all these spectacular relationships with all these catfish women, it's just something he has to deal with It's something he has to power every single day. I'm sure it's exhausting. I told you he sounds and looks exhausted from the statement of, I know you say you don't understand it, but I do. So the same energy, the same drama that's put into things that he does, it's not there anymore. He's defeated. Paula's gone. She was never there, to be honest. But Lorne still pines for her after all this time. He created a fake relationship, and now he's created the fake consequences of that relationship. So I have no sympathy for him, but I think that's why he can't let her go. I hope you guys enjoyed that video. I love you. I will see you in the next one.